Howdy everybody, welcome back to our VentureBeat stage. I have an extremely cool dude here with us, Jock Mackinlay, the Vice President of Research and Development. Welcome, Jock.
Nice to meet you. It's research and design.
Oh, research and design. They have development on here.
Well, that's fine. That'll be relevant to what we're going to talk about. So
very cool.
Yeah,
awesome. So research and design, you have probably one of the coolest jobs at one of the coolest companies on planet Earth at the moment.
Well, that, right? I love my job. So research and design, what that means is I run Tableau Research. Okay. It's an authentic industrial research group at Tableau, sort of in the tradition of Bell Labs, but much, much smaller. And I also run the design teams in development. And so we're unusual, and it fits Tableau really well that we have research and design close together. So we have the PhDs and the people that do visual design and UX design nearby each other. It's really effective and really valuable.
It's funny, we were just talking the exact same thing with Matt Chambers, who was on right before you, about getting everybody has their different skills they bring, and you get that collaboration going.
Yeah, so my team's got a multiple disciplines in it. The research scientists actually, they range in skill from high performance computing all the way up to telling stories with data. So there's this broad range there of different things they do. Most of them are multidisciplinary, and so they collaborate together a lot. And so that's really fun. And then the design team, what it brings is a real understanding of humans, human-centered design, and so the research scientists can take advantage of that to try and make products that help people see and understand data.
Sure, and that's one thing you guys are especially gifted at and have been from day one, is the front-end design. So where do you recruit, or where do you get your folks from that have these good skills, or do you curate that internally, or how do you get such a rock star team?
So on the research side, a lot of the people we hire have PhDs.
Sure.
Because what we ask for research scientists is to manage their own research portfolio, and a PhD is sort of an apprenticeship program under a professor to learn how to do that kind of independent work.
Sure.
Now, not everyone there is a PhD.
Sure.
We also really like to find people that can do prototyping, and you don't necessarily have to have got a PhD to learn how to prototype really well. Sure. The key thing for a prototyper is being able to share the prototypes and get feedback about them. So that's the kind of people we hire there. On the design side, it's more traditional from a design portfolio. We have user experience designers, we have visual designers, and we have user researchers who are trained in a bunch of methodologies for understanding how users work with technology.
Very cool. So, and then you guys go through the whole process of A/B testing different things internally?
So yes, the user researchers are skilled at that. Actually, we have this year, for the first time at the conference, we have something called Tableau Labs. So people can go there, and customers can go there and talk about what they would like Tableau to do, about the future. And so we have a lot of my team is over there talking to customers right now. One of the cool things at Tableau Labs is a user researcher who's running subjects with an eye tracker. What we're trying to do is understand how people work with visual displays of information. Yep. And it's different than working with standard web pages, and so we want to try and figure out how it works effectively so that we can tell our customers, do this to make really effective visual displays of information.
And that's very cool. Your customers are actually coming in,
being subjects. They're very interested in the topic because they themselves want to communicate their data to their employees or their customers or whoever.
Totally, and that's been in the company's ethos since pretty much day one.
From the very beginning, yeah. We spun out of Stanford, so we have a fundamental innovation gene from the beginning, from the PhD at Stanford, and we got large enough a few years ago in 2012 that we were able to start a research group, and a design group.
Right. And you've done. I mean, the things that were on the keynote yesterday. Like, I've been following you guys for a while. I don't remember half of this many major leaps forward.
Yes, it's a big development team.
Serious investment over the next. What was it like? Over the next 2 years, you're going to invest more than the last 10?
Yes, that's part of growth, something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, so I'm not going to get quoted here on TV.
Put it on my shoulders.
So, yeah, that's fine. But yes, a major investment in innovation because data is burgeoning in the world, and actually a lot of innovation is in front of us to be able to help people work with data. So we invest with our entire development team in that, and the research end is the folks that can work on the most risky, potential parts of it, and then the larger development team has a hackathon culture, so everyone is spending some of their time trying out new ideas and working with different things.
That is very, very cool. So what are some of the things that you're really excited about that are coming up?
So from the research team, yesterday in the Vision keynote, we showed using natural language processing technologies to have a conversation with your view. And that's literally an active research project that I'm supporting with our research scientists. And the reason why that's really interesting is that humans are we're linguistic creatures.
Sure.
We have conversations. We want to be able to talk. It's not just spoken. It's also typing and natural. And there's issues of ambiguity. There's opportunities to have a long, extended conversation, so that people can get a lot more out of the data view that they're coming across, where they don't have to learn a lot. They're naturally using language to talk with the system about that. And that's still a research project, but I'm really excited about it. So that's one of the things. Another thing that the group is working on has been the use of statistics, and we're even looking into using machine learning to try and help our customers get more out of the data. And then, of course, the big area for me, which I talked about here last year, is storytelling with data.
Yeah.
And so one of the things we know is that people say, "What's storytelling? I don't do storytelling." And and then we go talk to them, and absolutely, it's like if every week you're going to have to go tell your manager or your work group something about the data that you're working with, you're telling stories. You're not necessarily telling great stories, but the reason why you have to tell stories was actually covered in the afternoon keynote. Is it connects the data to the world. Data is naturally dry, but storytelling helps connect with data. And we think there's a lot of more work to do. I mean, obviously we have slideshow, story points feature in the product right now, but there are a lot of other genre for telling stories, and a lot of more work to be done in that area.
Sure. And you guys are branching out in so many different areas, the analytics and metrics, the hyper backend, which has got to be like almost down to Silicon assembly language kind of stuff. Are you guys getting? Is it challenging to attack so many things at once, or how are you guys?
So it's part of the reason the growth is justified for Tableau. We do have a lot of the area of helping people understand data is large, and so there's a lot of different parts to work on it. And yeah, it's challenging. It's hard hiring really great people, but we have some really great people we've already hired. And yes, the acquisition of Hyper, that's what you were talking about down at the data end, has been very good, because that also comes out of a research tradition out of the Technical University of Munich.
Okay. Cool.
So they're even though they're not in the research team, they're PhDs and working in that, and that's been true in our database side for a long time.
Wow.
So
how did you guys hook up that relationship with?
I don't know,
University?
actually. I don't know what the connection was. They were leaving the university and thinking they were going to go do a startup.
I see.
And I think we made some connection with them, convinced them to join Tableau instead. And they're great guys, so we've been having.
You got some very cool HR secret sauce. I know that much. Everybody everybody I've met in Tableau is not only brilliant; they're just a good person, and they want to help other people.
Yeah, and we have fabulous customers who are really interested in working with data, like working with us, and so we have a great relationship there as well. It's part of what empowers us as employees. We really like working with the customers. That's why this is probably the most fun week of the year for us.
That's what I've heard from so many Tableau employees. And you guys invest heavily. Do you know how many, the head count here roughly of Tableau?
At Tableau, no. What I know is that we're about 12,000 customers here, and then there's about, between Tableau employees and our partners and whatnot, we'll get up to about 15,000 at the conference.
Wow, so that's a good
big chunk. The last conference that we could bring all of development to was Seattle a couple of years ago.
Right.
That's because a lot of development is in Seattle, and we can't afford to fly everyone out anymore. But a big chunk, I think it's like 800 development people are here.
Wow.
So it's
that's a
very
huge
good.
investment for you guys to
and it's great. They get for the developers, it's a real chance to understand what people are trying to do, and so when they go back and build technology, they actually know what, they have some basis to understand what that technology is going to be used for.
Yeah, it's a great foundation to get going, that whole outreach community.
Yeah.
everything you guys are doing.
So yeah, and then labs, I'm really excited. I'm hoping that it'll grow next year and become a big part of the.
How's turnout been down there? I've only
so the first
poked my head in.
day it was super long lines. We realized we had what I call a success disaster, and
nice
so
problem to have.
they made adjustments in the scheduling, and it's been much more manageable since then. But it was very very positive feedback for the first year, and we'll adjust it for next year.
What a great validation of the love your
Yeah,
customers have for you.
It's
They're
really good.
Waiting in line to help you out.
Yes.
At their conference.
Yeah, and it helps themselves out. We hope
Sure.
so.
Sure,
Good.
Sure. And then another thing, like you guys are have some really interesting job titles: color experts, cartographers, and these folks are helping to just build all the visualization pieces.
So on the research team, I have Maureen Stone is the color expert. She's a world-class expert in color. She understands color blindness. In version 10, we have a really improved set of colors that we have in the application. If you use the product, and you were at 10, you would see them. So the way that worked is Maureen wrote a special purpose program for designing color palettes, and then sat down with my director of visual design, Christy Miller, and the two of them together worked on making sure that the colors were both functional, in other words, tapped the power of the human visual system, and also aesthetic at the same time. So like one of the things we switched was for quantitative color, you have a really beautiful blue ramp that we use for it, and a bunch of other along those lines. On the cartography side, the sole member of Tableau Research who's not a computer scientist by training is a cartographer. Now she programs, so she does program as well. But her primary expertise is in the area of cartography, and that's because statistical maps are, the only kind of data that's more common than geographic data is time data. But statistical maps are very, very common in our customers, and we want to make really great experiences to help them. In fact, yesterday in Devs on Stage, there was a bunch of features having to do with maps, and also in the vision there was stuff about layering on maps and things like that. So Sarah Sarah Battersby. That's her area of focus, and she has good connections with the maps developers. And
I didn't even know that job category exists. How do you decide when you need? Was this like proactive, or did you hit a wall and realize like, oh, we didn't understand?
No, it's proactive. So it turned out Sarah wanted to move to Seattle. She was a professor, and so we had her for essentially a visit over the summer. She was deciding whether she wanted to move at that time, and then she announced she was going to move full time. So we offered her a job.
Very cool.
So it was just luck.
Yeah. It's also a great pool of resources and a cool place to live that attracts folks.
But it's the collaboration that's really, with the multiple disciplines working together, that leads to innovation, I think.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
And how do you, because sometimes even when people are from vastly different backgrounds like that, I can almost see it like being a language issue or an understanding issue. How do you guys find challenges there?
It's always challenging, but the thing about Tableau is we're on a mission to help people see and understand data. So across the whole company, we share that in common ways. So we actually work really well with marketing, with sales, with the back office, the finance people. In fact, all of the different parts of Tableau use Tableau to work with data. Data is sort of a common thing for us. So this is really one of the things that is really great about working at Tableau, is that even though we have different concerns in different languages, marketing and sales and development, et cetera, operations, we share that common bit, and that's the bridge that allows us to collaborate together more easily. And then, of course, you do have to reach across the bridge. So.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So you guys announced a bunch of cool features. Obviously, you're not going to announce when each one is coming, but when can we start to expect dates of when things might come?
Well, dates will come all the time. So one of the things that's happening is in development, we're working on quarterly releases, so there's going to be a release every quarter.
Gotcha.
And then the question is just when does any particular feature finish, and then that will choose which quarter it comes out. And that's a basic philosophy for us in terms of our work. And we used to have a major release every year and a minor release every year, and now we're getting used to this cadence of releasing on a regular basis. And in fact, for our public and for online, the products that are in our data center, we could actually drive the release schedule down even finer than that as we go forward. In fact, to a certain extent we do. So features can appear there much more frequently. And we can fix bugs faster there too, so it's a good thing.
And what, like the vast majority of the new features come directly from customers, right? It's not you guys internally realizing something. It's
So this is interesting. It's a mixture of both. So I've been at Tableau for over 12 years and part of the forward product direction team, and it's really a combination of top-down. We think, we have some insight because of our working with data, things that would be useful, and bottom-up feedback from our customers about what they're actually trying to do. The art of it is a customer will tell you something in terms of the current product, but they will be describing work that we want to try and help them solve. So rather than just giving them a bottom-up request and solving it, we take both points of view together, mix it together, go through some iterations, and then bring out features, because resources are limited. We can only bring out so much any particular release that are going to help as many customers as possible work on it. So that's our basic design process, and iteration's part of it, but it is that combination of top-down and bottom-up.
That is so incredibly innovative. I've not heard a company successfully ever be able to do that before.
Yeah.
And it's got to challenge like hierarchies and corporate structure and the whole kind of, because if it's mainly bottom up, you can get into that.
For us, we started this way, so there's not been any need for us to evolve what we do in terms of that combination. Very, very savvy founders, and they deliberately made it, the company all work together and do that iteration together.
Very, very cool. So what would you tell somebody that's here maybe on their first or second year, some things to check out at this year's conference?
Well,
2 days.
Stop by Tableau Labs.
Yep.
I absolutely think that in about 45 minutes, IronViz is probably the best thing at the conference, and I'm judging that. So I'll have to leave here shortly to go do that.
Which building is that in? Do you know?
That's in the convention center. That's in the big room. So it's a plenary session.
Great.
It's what that is we run 3 contests during the year, and the winners of those 3 contests duke it out on stage. In 20 minutes, they build a view based on some data they only saw yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what they can accomplish, and then we choose a winner. So we being us, and not just me, but the audience as well.
Wow, cool.
So that's cool. And then, of course, there's a party tonight. There's a bunch of different sessions tomorrow. I'm looking forward to Bill Nye's keynote. I'm going to be really interested in that. So
Totally.
yeah, and of course there's a million sessions, so I don't want to recommend any particular one. So.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah, good.
Fantastic. I've had a great time talking to you, Jock.
Yeah, enjoyed talking to you. Yes, see you next year.
Absolutely.
So,
Thanks
good.
so much.
Thanks very much, Terry.
We're going to take a break, gang, and we'll be back in about a minute.